Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Today, the webinar is on how to increase chili production by 40%, and this webinar will be totally in English. A small introduction about myself. My name is Samir Alavadi. By education, I have done chemical engineering and postgraduate diploma in business management. I have 22 years of experience in the field of agriculture. I am working since 1999. Uh, I am technical director of a company called Utkarsh Agrochem Private Limited, where we manufacture more than 100 non-poisonous products for agriculture. To know more details, you can visit our website www.utkarshagro.com. In last 22 years, I have worked as a consultant, mainly focusing on crops like banana, papaya, mango, pomegranate, sugarcane, chiku, guava, vegetables, organic farming, etc. I am also the visiting faculty at IIM Jammu and EDI. I also have another company where I'm partner named Trees Valley Technologies LLP, where we sell trees, we plant trees, nurture trees, do Miyawaki forest, and do also do landscaping. And both of our companies are headquartered in Surat. You can share your concern that why you have joined this program and what are the major concern in doing chili farming. Okay, we'll move ahead. In this webinar, we are going to cover the basic requirements that are required for profitable chili farming, that are what climate and soil are required, what care to be taken while sowing, nutrient requirement, intercultivation, water management, pest and disease management, harvesting, yield and its storage. Climate. Chili is a plant of tropical and subtropical region. It grows well in warm and humid climate, and temperature of 20 to 25 degrees centigrade is ideal for it. At 37 degrees centigrade or higher, the crop development is affected. Low moisture in soil during the blossom development and fruit formation, it causes the bud de-blossom and fruit drop. So, in case of low moisture conditions during fruiting time period, the bud does not develop properly. So, the flower and the fruit may drop. So, one should select the period in such a way that in this period the moisture level is good. Means dry climate should not be there. Also, the excessive rainfall is detrimental to the crop because it brings about defoliation and rotting of the crop. So normally the planting period, wherever there is heavy rainfall, it is usually after the rain stops. So as it is a rain crop, it is grown in areas receiving an annual precipitation of 25 to 30 inches. Soil conditions. Chilies are grown in variety of soils provided they are well drained, well aerated, and rich in organic matter. The drained condition cause shedding of leaves, sickly appearance, and fruit drop. Chili can be grown successfully in light textured soil by providing adequate irrigation and manuring. Heavy textured soil are also suitable for rain-fed crops. Heavy textured soil are not preferred for very heavy rainfall area. So the ideal soil for chili is light loamy or sandy loamy rich in lime and organic matter. Strongly acidic or strongly alkaline soils are not suitable for chili farming. So the ideal pH for chili is between 6 to 7, and you can also go up to 7.5. So in which season should the chili farming should be done? Chilies can be grown in both Kharif and Rabi. In addition, they are also planted at other times. The sowing months are May to June for Kharif crop, September to October for a Rabi crop, and if they are grown in summer crop, then it is January and February months are chosen. So you need to take into consideration the moisture condition and the temperature as per your area. So as I have told earlier that in heavy rainfall area, usually the plantation is done after rainfall. That is only Rabi crop is taken between September to October. Plantation is done. Land preparation. The land is usually prepared by giving 2 to 3 plowing and clod crushing after each plowing. Compost is usually given at 6 to 8 to 10 tons per acre, and it should be spread and mixed well in soil at least 15 to 20 days before sowing. At the last sowing, grubnil should be given at 1 liter per acre if there is problem of white ants and other soil pests. If there is no problem in your soil, then it is not required to be given. However, at the time of plowing, the soil must be sterilized properly so that disease affecting the plants are kept in check. In order to sterilize, you can use Utkarsh Silver H2O2. It is also a very good sterilizing and eco-friendly product for sterilizing the soil. So this is grubnil. Soil treatment. The soil is treated with Utkarsh microbes, or we can add 2 tons of vermicompost as area. Either you can add this with microbes contain all kinds of biopesticide like Trichoderma viride, Pseudomonas fluorescens, Bacillomyces. So it overcomes all bad bacteria and fungus which are present in the soil, and it is very good for organic farming also. Planting material or propagation. Chili is usually propagated by seeds. For raising nursery, seeds of high yielding varieties with tolerance to pest and disease should be used. It is usually transplantation is only done. Direct seed is not sown. Manure and fertilizers. As talked earlier, you can use up to 6 to 8 to 10 metric tons of farmyard manure or compost for 1 acre before transplanting. NPK requirement as per university is 60 kg nitrogen, 30 kg P2O5, 30 kg K2O per acre. Full dose of K2O and P2O5 is given before transplanting, and 1/3 dose of nitrogen is given. This is usually given where drip irrigation system is not there. For drip irrigation system, I'll be sharing the schedule. The remaining 2/3 is applied in 2 equal splits, that is 5 to 6 months, 5 to 6 weeks after transplanting at the time of earthing up, and 8 to 10 weeks after transplanting. This is the fertigation schedule. And in the basal, as per our recommendation, you should give 50 kg DAP, 25 kg MOP, and Marvel G 10 kg. Vegetative stage, initially the root formation is required, so you should give roots multiplier and stress-free by drenching. Then 1919 and urea is given continuously till the proper growth is come. At fruiting and flowering stage, after 26 to 30 days of plantation, horsepower and stress-free is given. This is polyphosphate along with ubic fulvic amino seaweed for initiating the flower setting. Magnesium is also given to enhance the photosynthesis, and this sequence is followed. Combination of MAP, urea, and horsepower alternatively. Also, in 1 dose of calcium nitrate is given. So, the fruit for flowering setting takes place in a good way. Once flowering setting has started, you can start with 13045 MAP and MKP alternatively. This will give good flowering as well as setting of the flowers that has come. So this you can schedule is shared on WhatsApp group also, and you can see there also. This is the spraying schedule. Initially, first spray is given of primol and stress-free. Repose is given because the major problem is of thrips only in chili. Every 15 days, we recommend that every chili farmer should do spraying. Initially, for growth and development, primol and stress-free is recommended along with the natural and biopesticide. At 45th day, when the flowering starts, we recommend Panther and Marvel for good flowering along with the double combi. And 60th day, when the chili setting has started, you can give 13045 along with FN answer and virus to because virus is very much susceptible. On 75th day, similar sprays are recommended. We have experienced that whoever has followed this schedule judiciously, their production has easily gone up by 40%. And you can also explore. So these are our recommendations that before sowing and 5 days after transplantation, these are the various preferred by us. Prime All Roots Multiplier, Microbes, Marvel Chief, Amozes, Stress Free, Repose, 1919, 30th day, 37th day, all these products, Horsepower, Stress Free, FNAnswer, Prime All, 12610, Panther, Marvel, Double Combi, Magnesium Sulfate are recommended. On 55th, 60th day, 67th day, 75th day of spray, V-Shape, Horsepower, Stress Free, Calcium Nitrate, Beam Plus, FNAnswer, Magnesium Sulfate, 13045, 50-34 Combi 2 are recommended. Similarly, these are the recommendations at the later stage of chili. So all these products are some of our products that we recommend for chili. Now we will take the nursery raising. For nursery raising, 15 to 20 kg of rotten farmyard manure and 500 grams of 15 nutrient 15 NPK is required for nursery bed preparation. Nursery bed should be drenched with formalin solution or with carbon dioxide or with fung-free or with silver H2O2 to avoid damping of controlling of seedling. After this drenching, the bed should be covered with polythene sheet for 48 hours, then open for 48 to 72 hours. Usually, polythene sheets are given when a formalin or silver H2O2 is given. If you are giving carbamidism or fung-free, it is not required. Seeds should be treated with Utkarsh Trichozel and then only sowing should be covered, and it is covered thinly using the sand. The seed germination time is usually 5 to 7 days. About 40 to 45 days, seedlings are transplanted in the actual field when it is ready for transplantation. This is our Trichozel, which contains Trichoderma viridie in liquid form. Usually, the seed rate for OP variety is 400 grams per acre. For hybrid varieties, it is 80 to 100 grams per acre. And this is for this nursery area that is required is 40 square meter per acre. So in 40 square meter, you can easily grow seedling for 1 acre land. Seed treatment. Seeds can be treated with any chemical fungicide or pesticide in chili farming like carbamidism and mancozeb. However, it is always beneficial to adopt indigenous variety for seed treatment wherever possible. You can also go for organic treatment like Utkarsh microbes at 10 grams per kg of seed to prevent incidence of seedling rot in the nursery. The ideal time for raising nursery is February to March in the hills and October, November in northern plains. Transplanting should be done during the month of April to May. So these are the various varieties of the chili that are grown in our country. Depending upon the market in your area, you can select the variety, whether you want to go for the pungent variety or you want to go for the color variety. Always prefer the type of variety that is being grown in your area and choose the variety accordingly. Spacing and plantation. As told earlier, also 40 to 45 days old seedlings are used for transplantation. Transplanting is usually done in the month of April to May in hills and October, November in the plains after the monsoon. Seedlings are transplanted in shallow trench or pits or on ridges or level lands. In some places, 60 centimeter by 60 centimeter or 45 centimeter by 30 centimeter or 30 centimeter by 30 centimeter spacing is also followed. This spacing is between the two ridges and between the two plants. Irrigation or water supply. Chili cannot withstand heavy moisture, hence irrigation should be given only when necessary. Frequent and heavy irrigation induces lanky vegetative growth and causes flower shedding. Plant growth, branching, and dry matter accumulations are adversely affected by excessive irrigation. The number of irrigation and interval between the irrigation depends on the soil and climatic condition. If the plant shows drooping of leaves, it is an indication that irrigation is needed. Flowering and fruit development in chili are the most critical stage of water requirement. Normally, chili is grown under rain-fed condition. Stagnation of water should not be allowed in a nursery bed and field in order to avoid fungal infection. This is a different pepper growth. Seedling is prepared. In this way, seedling is ready. 30 to 35 days, flower starts coming. 48 to 52 days of fruit development starts, and then fruiting comes. Webster condition is very much important. Webster condition is the condition where 50% moisture and 50% air is there. So chili is it is very much prone to moisture condition. You should give irrigation in such a way so that chili gets maximum Webster condition. Intercultural operation or weed control and pruning. Grown-up seedling raised by sowing through broadcasting method or in line in ridges should be thinned out by hand 25 to 30 days after sowing the seeds to maintain the proper population. The plant density is to be maintained. It depends on the nature and the fertility of the soil. On a marginal soil, the population is maintained high. Generally, two weedings or hoeings are required to keep the field free from weeds. The first within 25 to 30 days of sowing, and the other one after 25 to 20 to 25 days of first weeding or hoeing. Wherever needed, depending on the weed growth, one or two or more weeding should be taken up. Weeds usually attract pests that allowed to grow in the field to act as a trap, and it should be removed before flowering. These pests are also home to virus spread also. So apply pendimethalin at 40 grams per acre or flucloarelin 40 grams per acre as pre-emergent herbicide, followed by hand weeding once 30 days after planting. Earthing up is carried out as and when necessary. Chili can be cultivated organically as an inter or mixed crop, provided all other crops are grown under organic method. It is desirable to include a leguminous crop in rotation with chili farming. This will give good production, and also it will prevent nematodes in the field. Intercropping. The intercrops like onion and coriander can be grown for getting additional income. It can also help to control the weed population. Now we'll talk about the various insects and pests. Chili is most susceptible to thrips. Uh, Whenever there is thrips, the infested leaves develop crinkles and curl upward. The petiole is elongated. Buds become brittle and drop down. Uh, in early stage of infection, it leads to stunted growth and flower production, and fruit sets are also arrested. Management. Use blue sticky trap to monitor thrips population. Intercrop with Susvinia, that is also locally called Agathi, to provide shade with to regulate the thrips population. Remove heavily infested plants from the field. Keep the soil well irrigated and avoid excessive nitrogen fertilizer application. Avoid overuse of insecticide to preserve population of beneficial insects. Remove weeds in and around the field. Windbreak can protect the fields from long distance infestation. Till the soil to bring thrips pupa to the surface, exposing them to the sun. Once it is done, they cannot survive easily. Do not grow chili after taking the sorghum crop. Sprinkle water over the seedling to check the multiplication of thrips. These various chemical pesticides are used to control thrips, and they should not be repeated immediately if possible. Imidacloprid, dimethoate, amomectin benzoate, lithion, fipronil, oxydibothon methyl, fosalon, spinosad, and thiacloprid. Then green peach aphid. Symptoms of green peach aphid: the infested plant turned pale with sticky appearance, the leaves curled and crinkled, honeydew excrete, and development of sooty mold takes place, and stunted growth of the plant takes place. In order to control this, treat the seed with imidacloprid 70% WS at 12 grams per kg of seed, or flonicamid. For spraying and controlling of aphids, you can use carbosulfan fipronil, imidacloprid, oxydimethyl, poselon, quinalphos. Now, Spodoptera. Spodoptera bollworm. The symptoms are the newly hatched larva scrap the green matter in the leaf. Affected leaf looks like a papery white structure. Later, in star larva feed by making small holes. In several infestations, they feed voraciously on the entire lamina and the petiole also. In order to control the Spodoptera, plow the soil to expose and kill pupa. Uh, do the plantation of castor as a trap crop. Set up a pheromone trap at 5 to 6 per acre, used for Spodoptera only. Collect and destroy the egg masses, gregarious larva, and grown up caterpillar. Spray insecticide like amamectin benzoate, fludimed, nuvalcron, spinosad, etc. Gram caterpillar. Symptoms. Early instar feeds on foliage. Grown up larva mainly bore into the fruit. Management. Collect and destroy the infected fruits and grown up larva. Set a pheromone trap with helidure at 6 per acre. Spray insecticide like amamectin benzoate, fludimed, and nuvolacron to control gram caterpillar. Gram caterpillar is usually green in color. Various other insecticide used are amamectin benzoate, fipronil, flutamide, indoxacarb, nuvolacron, spinosad, thiodicarb. Yellow mites. Symptoms of yellow mites are downward curling and crinkling of leaves, leaves with elongated petiole, and the growth is stunted. Management use spray buprofensin, diphenthurium, dimethoate, and usually what is here seen is this type of symptoms is seen at very later stage, but usually the attack happens when the yellow mites are very much small, yellow mites or red mites. Different chemical pesticides that are used to control is buprofensin, diphenthurium, dimethoate, penazaquin, fenpyroximate, hexythiazoc, and milbemectin. For organic farmers, for the farmers who don't want to use so many chemical pesticides, they can go for our organic range. Neem nose gold is 10,000 ppm neem oil. Thrippose is made specially. Thrippose and mitose are plant extract based product. Thrippose is for controlling thrips, mitose is for mites, and BioClean Sweep is a combination of Verticim licani, Metarhizium anisopli, and Beauveria bassiana, and it is used to control all the pests that we have covered, like thrips, mites, aphids, bollworms, etc. Now I'll talk about the disease. Damping off is the most common disease, and damping off is usually seen in nursery bed and young seedlings. It results in reduced seed germination and poor standing of seedling. Many times very high seedling mortality is there due to damping of up to 25 to 75%. So the different times of damping of pre-emergence damping of seedling disintegrate before they come out of soil surface, leading to poor seed germination. Post-emergence. Post-emergence damping off is characterized by development of disease after seedling has emerged out of the soil, but before the stems are lignified. Usually, the water-soaked lesion formed at the collar region. Infected area turns brown or rot, and the plant shrivels and collapse as a result of softening of tissue. In Rhizoctonia solani attack, infected stem become hard, thin, wire stem symptom, and infected seedling topple. Disease usually appear in patches both in nursery as well as field beds. When trichoderma is damping off is seen, you can use chemically, you can use mancozeb, copper oxychloride, or carbendazim. And if you want to go for organic product, go for pump 3 at 2 to 4 ml per liter water. You can do spraying or you can go for drenching also. Anthracnose. Anthracnose disease is usually seen more in December, usually for the October planted seedling. This small circular brownish black scattered spots appear on the leaves as well as on the fruit. Severely infected leaves defoliate. Ripe fruits are more vulnerable to attack than the greener ones. Small circular yellowish or pinkish sunken spots appear on the fruit. Spot increases along the fruit length, attaining elliptical shape. You can see this one. Several infection results in shriveling and drying of the fruits. Powdery mildew. Powdery mildew, white powdery coating appears mostly on the lower surface and occasionally on the upper surface. Correspondingly, on the upper surface, yellow patches are seen, like this, the spots. Several infection result in the drying and shedding of the affected leaves. Powdery growth can also be seen on branches and on the young fruit. Diseased fruit do not grow further and may droop down prematurely. Usually, powdery mildew is seen in monsoon period or during the winter. When the temperature is high, normally powdery mildew is not visible. Cercospora leaf spot. Circular spots with brown margin and gray center appears on the leaves like this one. The spot enlarges and coalesces with each other like this one, the lower photo. The central portion of the spot becomes white and the leaf turns yellow and defoliate. In this way, this is started and this has become white. Sometimes the central portion of spot drops off. Spots also appear on stem and twigs as dark brown irregular lesion with whitish center. In severe cases, dieback of twigs occur. Bacterial leaf spot. Leaves, fruits, and stems are affected. Lesions of a leaf begin as circular water-soaked spots. Spot becomes necrotic with brown center with chlorotic border. You can see here in this one. Enlarged spot may develop a straw-colored center. Lesions are slightly raised on lower leaf surface. Severely spotted leaves turn yellow and then droop and then drop down. Alternaria leaf spot. The fungus attacks the foliage, causing characteristics leaf spot and blight. Early blight is observed on the plants as small black lesions, mostly on the older foliage. Spot enlarges, and by the time they are 1/4 inch in diameter or larger, concentric rings in a bull eye pattern can be seen in the center of the disease area. See this bull eye area and spreading is taking place. Tissue surrounding the spots may turn yellow. If high temperature and humidity occurs at this time, much of the foliage is killed. So, high temperature and humidity is very much difficult for chili plant, especially when there is the area of alternaria leaf spot disease. Fusarium wilt. The first symptom of the disease is clearing on the vinelets and chlorosis of the leaves. Here, the chlorosis of the leaves is taking place, yellowing of the leaves. The younger leaves may die in succession, and the entire plant may wilt and die in a course of few days. Soon, the petiole and leaves droop and wilt. The symptoms continue in subsequent leaves. At later stage, browning of vesicular system occurs. Plant becomes stunted and die. When you take off the plant and tore it, this browning of stem is seen in the inside part. Fungicides that are used to control all these diseases like carbamazepine, mancozeb at 0.1% metallexyl plus mancozeb combination, which is also called tridomil, dinocap, propiconazole, which is also called tilt, wettable sulfur. And if you want to use organic products, 100% result effective product, then go for Fungfree, 2 to 4 ml per liter water by spraying or 1 liter per acre by drenching or through drip irrigation. This is our Fungfree and Fungnil, which are used to control various crop. Fungfree is 100% organic. Fungnil is a plant extract based product. Leaf curl virus. Leaf curl leaves curl toward midrib and become deformed, like this one. Stunted plant growth due to shortened internode and leaves greatly reduced in size. Flower buds abscise before attaining the full size, and anther do not contain the pollen germs. So ultimate fruit formation don't take place. The virus is usually transmitted by thrips. So control measure of thrips in this regard would be much helpful. Mosaic virus. Light green and dark green patches are seen on the leaves. Stunted plant growth it is seen during the early stages. Yellowing chlorotic ring spots on leaves as well as fruits. So you can see this ring kind of spot. This one and here round spots. Management of viral disease. The infected plant should be uprooted and burned or buried to avoid further infection. Avoid monoculture of chili crop. Selection of healthy and disease-free seed. Suitable insecticidal spray reduces the incidence of viral disease since majority of the viral diseases are transmitted by insect vector. Nursery bed should be covered with nylon net or straw to protect seedling from viral infection. Raise 2 to 3 rows of maize or sorghum as border crop to restrict the spread of aphids vector. Apply carbofuran 3G at 4 to 5 kg per acre in the main field to control sucking complex and insect vectors successively. If it is not possible to spray the crop with systemic insecticide, give dimethyl 2 ml or acephate 1 gram per liter of water. Collect and destroy the infected plant as soon as they are noticed. And once it is seen, you can also use virus and virumen alternatively. Virus, they both will help the further spread of virus. And you can also use these two products as per our recommendation in the sheet so that virus doesn't damages any material. Now we'll see the various nutrients, the types of nutrients required by the plants. Primary nutrients are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Major are nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Secondary is calcium, magnesium, sulfur. Micronutrients are iron, zinc, boron, manganese, copper, molybdenum, chlorine. And other important nutrients required are silicon, cobalt, and aluminum. Now we'll see the various deficiency symptoms and their cure. Nitrogen deficiency. It results in yellowing of lower leaves and stunted growth. To overcome nitrogen deficiency, you give urea or urea phosphate. In ammonical form, you can give ammonium sulfate, ammonium nitrate, DAP or MAP. For nitrogen nitrate form, you can give potassium nitrate, calcium nitrate, ammonium nitrate. All these are given as per the climate. During summer, urea can be given. During winter or monsoon, amide form, ammonical form or nitrate form of nitrogen is given. Phosphorus deficiency. Usually, phosphorus deficiency delays flowering and maturity. Leaves are small and dark, and margins tend to curl upward and inward. Also, the dark discoloration and purple color of leaves takes place in the lower leaves. These are symptoms. To overcome them. Give SSP or TSP or DAP as a basal dose. Give MAP or MKP through drip irrigation or by drenching or by spraying. You can also use a very special product made by Utkarsh polyphosphate horsepower, which contains 3 different types of phosphorus along with all kinds of micronutrients. Potassium deficiency. In potassium deficiency, the deficiency results in restricted growth of plant growth. Small reddish spots, brown spot develop on the leaves like shown here. The edges become brown. These spots spread from the leaf tip. Intervenial and marginal yellowing of the leaves may also develop in addition to spotting. To overcome the potassium deficiency, you can use the MOP as recommended 25 kg per acre before transplantation, or through drip or drenching or by spray, you can give sulfate of potash 13045 potassium nitrate, monopotassium phosphate 005234. Other NPK formulation there are used by farmers are 19 19 19, 13 14 13, 15 15 15, 20 10 10, 12 32 16, 24 24 0, etc. Magnesium deficiency. The symptoms usually appears on lower older leaves first. These are characterized by intervenial chlorosis. You can see the intervenial chlorosis here. The veins are green, but the other part is yellow. As the deficiency progresses, the older leaves die. The largest vein remain green, while the smallest do not remain green. To overcome magnesium deficiency, you can give magnesium sulfate, magnesium nitrate, and magnesium EDTA, which is called our magreen. Sulfur deficiency. Leaves turn pale yellow in color. Growth is restricted. New leaves become narrow and more pointed, like the one here shown. To overcome the sulfur deficiency, you can give bentonite sulfur, liquid lime sulfur, sulfur 90% WDG. Also, if you are giving different sulfate-based fertilizer like ammonium sulfate, potassium sulfate, magnesium sulfate, zinc sulfate, ferrous sulfate, then deficiency of sulfur is usually not visible. Calcium deficiency. In deficiency, the margins of the young leaves become yellow, like this one. You can see the margins becoming yellow. Pale brown sunken area develop on the fruit near the blossom end. Here, this pale brown sunken area is developed. This is not fungus. There is no symptom of any fungus. On less mature fruits, the whole of the distal end may be affected, like this one. To overcome calcium deficiency, give calcium nitrate by drip or drenching, or by spraying. You can give Calong, that is calcium EDTA, or usually calcium and boron deficiency happen together. You can also give calciboron, and many times magnesium is also required. So calcium, magnesium, and boron combination is our FN answer, which is in EDT chelated form. Zinc deficiency. The deficiency appears first in newly formed leaves at 20 to 30 days of age. Small purple area develop which may turn brown. You can see the entire chili is also becoming yellow. To overcome, you can give zinc sulfate 20% or 33%, or you can do spraying of zinc gap, zinc EDTA 12%. Iron deficiency. Initially, iron deficiency results in intervenial chlorosis near the base of the older leaves. If deficiency continues, entire leaf, including vein, exhibit chlorotic symptoms. The entire crop may exhibit bleaching appearance, like the one shown in the second photo, and the plant finally dies. To overcome it, give ferrous sulfate. If your pH is above 7.5, give by spraying of FeEDTA, which is called our Pigro. FeEDA 6% by drenching or by drip irrigation if your pH is between 6 to 10. If the pH is less than 6.5, you can give FeDTPA 11%, which is called our Fe aquarium. Boron deficiency. Yellowing of the on the tip of the mature leaf happens. It spreads around the margins. The main vein become reddish or brown. New leaves of a young plant become distorted. The fruit shape also doesn't remain the straight, and they also start showing the symptoms. To overcome the boron deficiency, you can give borax in the soil, or you can do spraying or by drip irrigation. Our B shape, there is disodium octoborate containing boron 20%, or you can give calciboron that contains 5.5% boron, or you can give Epenancer, which also contains EDTA, calcium, and magnesium along with boron. Copper deficiency. In copper deficiency, the growth is restricted. Plant remain dark green. Leaf size is reduced. Leaf margin tend to curl upward. To overcome it, you can give either copper sulfate or copper EDTA 15%. That is called Copcol. Manganese deficiency. In manganese deficiency, the young leaves become bright yellow-green and develop dark brown intervenial areas. Small white diffuse area develop on the mature leaves. These may become brown later. In severe cases, the leaf wither and drop off. To overcome a magnesium deficiency, you can use manganese EDTA at 12% or manganese sulfate. So this is a chart showing the various different deficiencies. This is common for all kinds of plants. You can see the NPK deficiency in lower leaves is there. In medium leaves, magnesium and the sulfur deficiency is there. And in new leaves, micronutrient deficiency is visible. So, very easy chart to diagnose nutritional deficiency. In mature leaf, if there is chlorosis and if there is uniform chlorosis, then it is nitrogen and sulfur deficiency or sulfur deficiency. If there is chlorosis intervenial or speckled, that is magnesium or manganese deficiency. If there is necrosis on the tip and margin of the old leaves, mature leaf, that is potassium deficiency. If the necrosis is intervenial or speckled, that is magnesium or manganese deficiency. In the young leaves, if there is chlorosis and it is uniform, then it is iron and sulfur deficiency. If the young leaves, there is intervenial or speckled chlorosis, then it is zinc or manganese deficiency. In case of necrosis in young leaves, that is calcium, boron, and copper deficiency. Law of minimum is applicable in chili farming also. If there is deficiency of any single nutrient, you will not get the desired result. This is shown in the this way. So you need to give each and every element as per its requirement, so the yield never goes down. Harvesting. Chili is highly perishable in nature. It requires more attention during the harvest, storage, and transportation. Harvesting should be done at the right stage of maturity. Chilies which are used for vegetable purpose are generally harvested while they are still green but fully grown. Chilies are that are harvested at red stage for canning purpose. Chilies used for drying are harvested at full ripe stage, which can be turned into chili powder. Harvesting can be done 75 days after transplantation. 4 to 5 picking of green leaves usually takes place, and 2 to 3 picking of red chili is done during one growing season. Yield. The yield varies across the system of cultivation. The yield of dry chili of a rainfed crop is 200 to 400 kg, and that of irrigated crop is 600 to 1000 kg per acre. The proportion of dry to fresh japed chili usually varies from 25 to 40%. I have shown you many products. Our products are usually available on various online platforms for the cheapest rate, you can go for our website www.utkashagro.com, agrotech.com, or you can also go for Amazon, Flipkart, Moglix, AgriBagri, Big Heart, Agrosia, etc. We are also listed on Trade India, IndiaMart, Justdial, and our company is a member of BNI, CII, South Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So these are the various product range that we are having. We are having complete range of biofertilizers, biopesticide, PDDH related fertilizer, miscellaneous fertilizers, aquarium plants, amino related fertilizers, spreaders, pH balancer, water soluble fertilizers, complete range we have. Media and fertilizer for hydroponics, then organic fertilizers, plant protector like neem oil based product and other plant extract based product. Then PGR based product like our best selling Luminose 98, Aminos, Zymos, Beam Plus, Fem Gold, Black Pearl, Roots Multiplier, etc. Now question time. If you are having question, you can unmute yourself and you can ask the question. If you are not having any question, then we can complete this webinar. This webinar will be available on YouTube within 2 to 3 days. And you can also become part of our WhatsApp group where you can share your photographs and ask questions relevant to your farming. So thank you very much for attending the webinar. And if you still want to see it again, you can explore it on YouTube. Thank you.